is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Drawing with Jack. This is a behind-the-scenes podcast for Cox and Space, and I am your host and friend, Skip Barazzi, here with Jack Haynes, our illustrator, and our special guest for this evening, Chris Eischen. Chris, welcome to the show. Dur, dur, dur.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you. As if people can see in the chat, we've been having a fun time in the green room pre-show, dropping in what AI has brought us and how we've been using it recently. One of the things that we started talking with is how much artificial intelligence, large language models, image creation models have improved in just the last 12 months.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I wrote an album. I released an album of music that I used AI to generate. So yeah, it's been exciting times.
That is pretty exciting. Now, when you say that you released an album, where did you release it to?
It's on iTunes and Spotify.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's Chris of Northwest Ohio, but it's just NW Ohio. If anybody wants to check it out.
NW Ohio. What style is it?
Yeah, it's a different blend of songs.
Okay.
So I just kind of started creating songs as I found that I needed them for me, and if you're in the entrepreneurial world or creative world, even not necessarily even like entrepreneurial, but sometimes you can get kind of down and out, right? Mm-hmm. Stuff gets rough, so I needed some songs to kind of pick me up and remind me of my why.
Fair. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, so I created some songs to kind of be able to put on and tell myself the message that I wanted to hear.
Wow. And, okay. That's yeah. I wasn't expecting that answer. That's cool. Is that like country music? Is that like R&B? Is that dance techno?
So I got some that's kind of like, I don't know, a little like upbeat, not techno per se, but
like poppy.
Poppy, yeah. And then a lot of guitar. I like that kind of classic rock sound.
Yes,
but there's a few.
Well, you talk about like the grunge era of rock, right? Like
right, exactly.
Right, okay, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, like some what is it? Some 21 or
a Three Doors Down, Savage Garden.
There you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the type of music, we grew up on. Yeah, which again, like they call it alternative at that time, but like I'm like, yeah, that's what the era was. That was the vibe. I love 90s music. Yeah, it's classic rock now. We have to accept it. But yeah, I do. I put some music on. I was like, yes, this is awesome. And people were like, oh yeah, that's divorced dad rock. And I was like, well, it doesn't make it not good. It's still
girls.
You're probably more crazy than
yeah.
But yeah, just that whole like the 80s and 90s. What a great time.
Yeah.
So kind of like that. I got you. The type of music that you want to do, but you don't have a band backing you up. So you say that it's your music. And you're putting it out. What percentage are you composing? What percentage is coming from the computer? Like that they're asking for. And also, you said you're using the tools that are like built into a couple of music streaming services, correct?
Right. So,
which ones?
Well, there's several different ones that I'll use for different projects, but I use GarageBand is where I tend to go and write my own stuff.
Sure.
And I'll take like loops and things like that and play with that. And I got started doing that kind of stuff back when I was podcasting in the early days. You had to have copyright, free music or whatever. The words I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. 'Cause, like if you're early podcasting, you can't go pay for all the assets to have a loop.
Right.
Right, and it's either that make your own music or don't have music.
Yeah, and I just thought it was a fun little hobby of mine. So I just sit there and write little, loops, or in some cases full-fledged songs. But I wasn't a singer, so I wouldn't sing to them. But I might write lyrics and kind of be like, man, this is cool. I just need to find somebody to sing a song for me. And then AI comes along and it's like, oh man, I can plug my lyrics in. I can sit there and plug in like this like loop that I created, and I really like that. And I can use that as an influence in the song. And then just
Okay.
go and play along. I
So
pay for the
when you say you plugged it in, what services did you plug it into? Like the models.
Like I use primarily
Okay.
because it has so many extensive tools within it.
Right, right. A lot of people have been saying that that's an asset that they've been using.
Yeah. Now with Sono too, you can just say, write me a song, and you can just tell it to do whatever, right?
Right, right.
It'll just create something. Now, and that's fine for anybody that wants to do that. But for me, my songs were more, I kind of took a poem of what I wanted to say, like um, kind of saying what I want to say in a lyrical way, right? And so using AI to kind of help me say, okay, these are the things I want to tell myself and I want to remind myself, but like, how do I sing that,
Right.
And then plug that in, and then it take with my words and turn it into a poetic lyric. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And it's like that's what I was trying to say, but now I'm singing it to myself, right?
Right,
And
right.
then with my loop and tie it all together, and you spend, I don't know, at the end of it, you spend a few hours diddling around, and you come up with a song that you like, and or you don't. You come up with a couple songs you don't like, and then finally one that you're like, yeah, there you go.
That,
That's the way I wanted it.
that's
But so I understand there's a lot of like hate around it from some, from artists and things, and I get it, but it's not replacing anybody. It's just a new tool. It's like a new brush that you get to play with.
right, right. Where now you have access to a singer, where you didn't have access to a singer before, right? That was the one thing
Yeah.
that you were missing from your song, and you were able to put you or someone who sounds appropriate to your song into singing it. Um, yeah. So I mean, you may have been in the place where you don't know the singer who would be appropriate to do that, or a person who you do know doesn't have time. So
And and the other thing is like it does up my level of songwriting, right? Like I never would have wrote a song that catchy on my own. Like
fair.
realistically, I'm not gonna lie. It's like it made me sound way cooler than what I am. But you know what? I'm just messing around. So I'm not taking it serious. I don't want anybody else to take it serious. But at the same time, like, look what you can do. You know?
Right. And people were like, wait, but no, we shouldn't. I should point out that 2025, you haven't found out about it yet, but a lot of the songs that are on the pop charts right now are heavily influenced by large language models and artificial intelligence. I will almost guarantee they've been using them in the studios.
Oh,
They're like
absolutely.
that the artists have probably been putting in their lyrics and they've been putting in but like backup vocals, instruments in the backgrounds, riffs. There's so much of the extra stuff that's being put into those songs that it's definitely been generative and been ripped off. Um, Jack, your expression says probably something along the lines of like, yeah, but that doesn't make it right in any capacity or stretch of the imagination.
Right or wrong isn't the correct way to look at it.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, what was your name again, man? I'm an idiot and
It's
I can't
Chris.
remember.
It's Chris
Yeah.
Eischen.
Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Chris said, it's a tool, and of
Yeah.
course, tools are going to get used. Like the thing that is just like a real shame is that I don't know. Like as an artist, I believe that art is a process; it's not a product. And the only
100%.
real benefit that AI seems to give is that it can like output a lot more like shitty products for people to consume.
Slop is
But
the
the whole
AI.
point of an artist going through the process to create a product is because the product that's created was created from that person's discipline, that person's perspective, that person's point of view, that person's like it's like everything to do with like the human experience and a human person. And when like a AI, even if you're giving them like beats to work off of and everything, it's like they're working off of only what's come before them. So like it's the perspective of something that is just like lifting a bunch of stuff that other people have done. It's not a human perspective. It's not a human anything in terms of like that. It's not a genuinely generated human perspective. It's a human perspective that's regurgitated from previous human perspectives, which again can be entertaining, can be a product that's worth buying. I'm not trying to put it down like its value, but again, it can only have that value for so long because it is just bringing on what's come before it. And again, no human discipline, like again, like a person sitting down and like making their own beat, finding a singer or singing it themselves, working on like somebody like Andrew Bird, who like I remember I saw Andrew Bird at the very first Pitchfork Festival before it was ever called Pitchfork. It was called Intonation in 2005.
Wow.
And he
both of those
performed
things.
everything.
Oh my
and
god.
He would whistle something and record it into the microphone, and then he would loop it, and then he would record something on like a little string instrument, and he would loop it, and then he record something on a little like handheld.
So you saw him build it.
Octave instrument, and he built the whole song right there on his own. And again, the reason that kind of song making and that kind of performance and that kind of thing is going to always be better than AI is because you can see the discipline of the person learning the instruments, learning how to loop everything, learning what sounds good and what doesn't sound good to a person, and like making it. It's just like that is just always going to be the reason that we make art, right?
Yeah.
Like the reason that we make art is to go through a process and take everything that we as human beings have experienced and try to translate that for other people so that they can take that and wrap it into their experience. Not that some machine or some algorithm can like take some amalgamation that only makes sense in terms of like what was like popular at a time or what people thought was kind of cool with like this story or what people thought was cool in like this song, and like mash it all together and then like serve it up. And it's like, again, it's not that it's like valueless, but again, it doesn't represent any of the things that we as human beings have ever appreciated about art. So that's the only problem that I see with AI, where it really amplifies the capitalistic idea that art is a product, and it just like makes people forget about the things that made people become artists in the first place, to like learn how to do something that nobody else has done before. Like you have an idea to do something that no one else has done before. Like the very simple idea right there that a lot of people become artists or become performers or become something because they have an idea that no one else has done before and they want to do it. AI cannot do that. AI can't come up with something that no one has ever done before because it can only work on what has come before it. So
right. Hence its basis as a tool versus.
Right.
Yeah, we're the ones who give artificial intelligence meaning. Apart from a human experiencing its output, it's complete abstract. There is no meaning to it. And so
that's the point of being a person. Like that's what human beings do. We create meaning.
Yeah.
Like morality didn't exist before the first human being decided something was either good or bad. Like we create meaning.
Yeah.
That's a part of the human experience. And in like creating
we're little
meaning,
gods.
We can either be good or bad or whatever, but it's like, yeah, like we could have a whole like army of people that like create all of this meaningless meaning out of AI slop that like, oh yeah, I was actually moved by that. Oh no, I actually think that's like really great. And then like what we become like, what does that meaning lead to? Like, how is that like? Again, like I know that I sound like I'm a huge I've used AI. I'm not against seeing it as a tool, but the way that some people have decided, like these private equity companies that are engaged in like the mass layoffs because they think that they can replace people with AI.
Really bad.
The whole idea that this kind of thing is in any way, shape, or form the replacement for another human being's perspective,
right?
Especially a creative human being's perspective, is just, I don't know, like it really incenses me because again, not because I think people are going to lose jobs. People are going to learn how to use the tools, and it's just that's what it's going to be. But like in trying to convince like a whole new generation of people that no, actually it is worth it for you to learn the process, and they don't want to because they've just been like told that like, look, AI can make something that's almost as good, and like you don't have to spend all the time to do it. And it's just, no, that's not the point of ever picking up a paintbrush. Right. It's not the point of ever picking up a guitar, is to like skip learning how to use it.
Anyway. Right on.
Sorry, I know that I'm like way too like at a level right now, but it's just like so many people that I have like talked to where they're just like, no, you can skip all of the like learning stuff, and you can just like make a bunch of stuff, and like people will buy it, and it's just like, this is not the.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
like,
and I would argue
selling websites like that.
Right.
Yeah.
That Chris is probably able to make songs because he knows how to make music already. And he's using the one extra thing to add to the music he already knows how to create. Is that right, Chris? I mean, that's kind of what I heard you say was, there was like, you had the lyrics that you wrote, you had the music that you wrote, you told it what the lyrics and what the music was, and wrote like, make a guy singing this song. And it did, right?
Well, and at one point it actually turned it into, so it started off as I wanted it. I was like trying to go for like a Bob Dylan kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm giving it that command, but then like midway through it turned into like a woman singing, like a woman took over. But the way that it did it made it like super cool. And I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that, but like that really works.
Yeah.
And so that, it's like you don't always create exactly what you're anticipating, but at the same time, like it's a nice like merriment of the two, right?
Yeah, and I agree with Jack that you can't, it's not going to express anything that's never been expressed before, and it's not something that is human per se. But I will say the randomness of what will come out of one of these models or some of these models makes you sit back and go, like, when it's like examined everything, and put all these little pieces together, there is some things that really do astound you. Besides, like AI videos of cats and dogs blowing away old people with fire hoses as they answer the front door. Which
we can keep those. We can actually keep those.
Those are the funniest videos, and yeah, exactly. There's also a series I caught that was like this lady coming out and screaming at her cat doing all these things on the porch at 3 a.m. And it's like, like a jazzercise program or fixing lawnmowers or like giving haircuts or like having a barbecue. And I was like, you know what? AI slop is here to stay. And because of these cat videos, I will select these specifically that, if they want to keep these, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, keep those ones coming. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. I do worry because one of the things I was sharing with Chris in the green room is I created an image of myself. Well, I didn't create it, but I needed an image of myself, and so I just quickly, and so I wrote to Meta, who has a bunch of pictures of me, Facebook, and asked their AI to give me a picture of me in a sweater at a party. And the image that it created fooled my mom. She was like, "You look great, in that sweater." And I was like, "Oh, this, we're in trouble now, boys." Because, like it really does. Like if you don't know, like the same thing with this video. If you don't know that this is artificial intelligence, then you just go, "That's a really cool video where they went through the green screen like that," not knowing that, this guy didn't do it. It's all simulated.
Yeah.
It is definitely like a worry when it comes to politics. I mean, this is another reason why it's just so important. Like education should just be something that is just like so accessible to so many people, because I think more people would be comfortable with the implementation of AI, because we already see how so many people are using they're trying to implement AI to like fool people.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to get people to think that like atrocities are happening that aren't happening.
Wasn't that the whole like concept in 1984? Is the ability to create like false wars whenever you wanted to?
Well, I mean, just you control the education of the populace, and you control like how they think through language, and they uh, will think what you want them to. And yeah, like visual language will. I mean, again, this is the reason why like seeing it as a tool like amongst artists is like a quaint and like like happy idea, but like the real world implications of it are like the manipulation of society if we're not careful. That's why it should not be something that's
Good
like
point.
willy-nilly just being like thrown out there with like these companies to where they're just like, I got my new like AI this, AI that. It's like, I mean, we really should be taking care to like make sure that the people that are using this stuff and the people that are trying to like turn it into some kind of enterprise and like create some kind of market aren't doing it just so that it'll like take our data and then like fool us into thinking that like we should vote for this person, or like we should be scared of this legislation, or that we should be supporting this country or not supporting this country. I mean, it's like, and that's mostly what it's being used for effectively. I mean, the people that are making art with it, I mean, yeah, like you hear the stories about people on Spotify with like an AI artist and like this, that, and the other thing. And again, to me, that's quaint shit. But then like the way that it's like this new fucking thing that was on the Late Night with Stephen Colbert, where like they have this like AI bot that it's supposedly supposed to run on like AI and can like do your dishes and like go and fetch things for you and like do little chores around the house and stuff. Like you have like your own little like servant and stuff, and it's like $25,000. But the kicker is that it can't do everything on its own with its AI algorithm. So there's a person on the other end through an internet connection that can see everything that is fucking happening. You have now effectively, for $25,000, completely sold out all of your privacy, and of course that company has all of the rights to all of that shit to use it and like run it through AI and like like
Jack,
the
what's
map of your.
interesting is you missed the episode last week when Dr. Alex Reed was here, and
Yeah.
we were talking about this concept specifically, where essentially what you've got is you've got a little guy in your house who basically will essentially become capable of doing anything at one point. He'll become very articulate, with his hands and stuff like that. And so they've actually bought access to your house in a way that you could hire this little guy out to any service. You could have a maid stop by virtually, take over your bot, clean your house. You could have a mechanic stop by, take over the bot, be scheduled, and like come repair, your TV or your dishwasher or your car. Yeah, if they use it correctly, actually, they could use this little guy to make sure that you never have to come in contact with another person and risk the safety of your own house. And you can always have people who log in virtually to their work from home. So a kitchen essentially never has to have people in it. It's just like workers who log in virtually to their bot and just, run the bot from their own house. And then whenever their shift is done, they just, go play video games.
Yeah, I see the use for something like that where
it's not artificial intelligence, and there's a form of slavery for sure. But like, I'm pretty sure capitalism can go, in a very interesting direction right now.
I mean, I wasn't thinking of actual people. I was thinking of AI, but I mean, obviously, we don't want.
Well, we don't have the ability for a large language model to run the thing that we want it to do. But we do have the ability, apparently, for people to port into bodies and take over tasks and do them. So why don't we just have us doing that? Like, I would rather do a 40-hour, week or whatever, from the privacy of my own house, where I just like step into the closet to, work for 4 hours, and then I go eat lunch, and then step back in the closet and do another 4-hour task from the eyes of a robot.
That's that Bruce Willis movie.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the surrogate. Yeah, surrogate.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring it up the other time because I was like, no one's going to get that reference. Thank you, Chris. It is the surrogates, and I want it. But basically, yeah, because then you could have the best expert come to your house from anywhere in the world, because all they have to do is put on their visor and log into your little dude.
Oh wow!
It's also
like the movie Gamer with what's his face from 300? Gerard Butler. But anyway,
wow, you associate 300 with Gerard Butler? That's an interesting. Yeah. I mean, it is an iconic role for him, but like interesting to be what it is. I'm trying to think of what my Gerard Butler movie would be for the association. But what was your question? I'm sorry.
law-abiding citizen would actually be my majority.
There you go. Okay, all right. I think Bang Bang. No, what's the movie where I might be thinking of the wrong person? All right, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, I was going to say that that whole thing that you said before, though, about the people in the house and like making money, being a surrogate or whatever. The whole thing that misses is that the reason that these companies want this AI stuff is so that they can not have to pay people and not have to worry about, like they think human beings are the weak point in the chain.
Right. But I'm saying, but practically, we know that the thing that they're selling is bullshit, and we know that it cannot do that. And since they revealed their like slimy under technological hand, why not just give us the thing that all of us want, which is no commute?
I mean, they'll make us
and they could pay us less because they're not actually tearing our bodies up; they're tearing up a robot.
Dude, these private equity companies, they are going to force it through until we accept it. I think is the only way to put it. Like, they are going in deep. Like, what was the company that like went in so hard they like laid off their entire quality control workforce because they thought AI could do it?
Again, so dumb. Why would anybody do? You cannot trust a machine to do what people are doing. I take it back. Gerard Butler is the 300 is the correct assignment to him. I was thinking of somebody else. Because the other option is the last man on Earth or something. This is other like big claim to fame. But yeah, no, outsourcing completely to artificial intelligence, especially at this point where it has not proven itself, is like giving a gun to a kindergartner. Like, do not do it. It is not responsible enough.
No. Well, it's kind of like the automated cars, right? Like when they started running into billboards and things of, taking weird left turns into ponds or something.
That was the other example that we brought up. You guys can't have possibly heard that episode because it hasn't come out yet because it was just last week. It doesn't drop until next week. But, I would rather have somebody log into my car than have an artificial intelligence drive my car. Like, I would rather have, like, the little man, take over the car, which is some guy in, India, Mexico, China, Thailand, South Carolina, wherever. But they know how to drive, and they've been obviously certified. And basically, they're playing like a VR game where they're just driving a car. And, people are doing that anyway. Like, I would play GTA 5 just to drive cars. So if you gave me the ability to log in and get paid to drive rich people's cars and just make sure that they got there safely, like, I'd be like, hell yeah. Then I'll just, do that, log in 3-4 hours a day.
Well, that's coming. Don't worry. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's like,
coming for
since we don't really have artificial intelligence, yeah, give us the AR, VR, which is basically the same thing.
Real quick, this is the company that I was talking about, Klarna, pretty big company, Swedish company. And
Klarna. Really? They did that? That was dumb. Yeah. That was dumb, guys.
Yeah, they fired like 700 employees, and now they're like hiring people back. This was back in May, so they probably hired back a lot of people. But I remember hearing about that and just being like, man, like, come on. Really? Like, this is
I was thinking there was like some like not notable company, not Klarna.
Yeah, they're
pretty... My whole take on it is
because
like
that's
AI...
a really bad idea. They're a finance company.
I'm sorry. What's your take, Chris?
Yeah. So my take's that AI is, again, like we've been talking about, a tool, and so people would use it to help like create efficiencies, right? And so in that sense, you may need less people, but that's going to be. I mean, we got to figure out how to implement this stuff. When they talk about, because where we're at in Northwest Ohio, it's a lot of manufacturing. So the conversation is, how is AI going to support manufacturing improvement?
It makes sense.
You've got to have sensors all over to pull the data to be able to plug it into the AI to say, okay, how can we improve this? Where do you see the loss that can be gained? Right? Like,
well, that's one way to do it, yeah.
I mean, there's going to need to be ways that we implement, and just figuring that out is going to take time. It's not like, AI replaced Sandra, we don't need a receptionist anymore because the AI bot can answer the phone. Well, that's not.
As executives that are running the companies, that's like what they thought. I mean, someone like, again, like this is why I said, like, you know, amongst artists talking about these things and using them as tools and stuff, I feel like the people that are actually making it a problem think those things are like very quaint because they're like, oh, well, they think it's a tool. Haha, I'm going to fire 700 employees and I'm going to fucking like replace them all with AI because I can. And I want that fucking shit now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for, you know, this stuff to start. I'm going to grandfather myself in and get on the ground floor and do all this shit now. And those are the people that need to like be thinking the way you and I are, Chris, where it's just like, this needs to take time. Like, This is a tool. This is not replacing anyone yet. And if we want to get to the place where it's making things productive and efficient enough that we're replacing people, we really need to learn how to teach people to use it first and like make it usable, actually do what we say that it'll do, and apply it in like very smart places like manufacturing, like factory work seems like a pretty smart place to do it.
Right.
Computer programming type stuff, software engineering seems like another great place to do it. I don't see software engineers being like replaced yet, or even like talk of that being replaced yet. When, I mean, I've seen so many people say that they can like write whole programs with AI, which again, programs are very structured. That seems like a very great thing for AI to do and find like better efficiencies in. But I don't see it replacing like software engineers and stuff like that. People that make like all that like stuff. Like those are still human jobs. And again, you know, these are very structured.
It'll all be necessary to have a human in the loop for all of it, right? Like you've got to double and triple check because it will hallucinate and it will.
Right.
I mean, you can have
that's what I'm saying.
Double check.
Like that's the whole thing that it does is hallucinate, and that's why you need someone to double check it. Like even if you fire everybody, you need someone who's double checking your AI.
Exactly.
A qualified person, for God's sake.
Another sector of people that could easily be replaced by AI are executives, like corporate executives. Like those decisions are not. Those decisions are not fucking difficult to make, and we can see that they are not making good ones right now when it comes to AI. But you know, deciding you know what kind of product you know you want to get at a certain time and making sure that you can like make these things move so that you're like never going beneath you know like cost, keeping supply at certain seems like a great kind of thing for AI to do, and that's like basically what executives do. Like,
right.
You know, and it's like you know, again, you don't see AI replacing things that make the most sense for AI to be replacing right now. They're only going after things that are going to replace. I mean, really, like the media is making hay out of how it's replacing creatives because, again, like for some reason our society just loves to like shit on creatives. You know, like
right. Artists all will be poor. They all suck.
Exactly.
Like what?
We didn't need AI for, you know, like game developers to be, you know, like, you know, being fucking priced out of the fucking food court at Activision, you know, or you know, not being able to afford health insurance at Ubisoft, not being able to unionize. Like, I mean, we haven't needed AI to treat creatives like shit for so long, but now we're so ready to jump on board and be like, we can actually get rid of all of these fucking creatives that for some reason want to like unionize so they can have fucking healthcare. You know, like fuck all that. Like have a bunch of fucking machines that don't need anything except just to be told what to do. And those executives are the ones that, in my opinion, need to be replaced first by AI. But the analog machinery that we still use everywhere, I think, is like the first thing that needs to be replaced by AI, and like anything that can be run off of an algorithm. And
well, that's to that point. That's what I said. I have it's called N8N, and it does automation essentially. You just tell it what you want it to automate, and it'll build the process for you. So when I record a video, I have that video go into a Google Drive. Then anytime something new gets added to the Google Drive, it activates this process, right? So then it goes into CapCut. and then in CapCut it runs a set of programs. Then it exports that out of CapCut into a social media scheduler, and it schedules it 2 weeks out from that date, and then it sends my Slack a notification that the video is ready to be reviewed. So then I can go in and review and see if I like that edit, and if I like it, then it's good to go. So if you think about it from that standpoint,
what criteria are you giving CapCut to edit the video under?
very basic, adding a header and a footer,
Oh,
and
okay.
doing some trim. So
Okay,
it's
gotcha,
and then
gotcha.
it takes out pauses and uh ums and that those kinds of things. What are they, filler words, and then it runs a caption. So after
Gotcha.
it does that, it
That's
runs a
all.
caption.
That's all really handy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it spits it out, and so then I don't have to spend any time. Now I haven't scaled it yet, so I don't have it just doing it all the time, but I got it to work. And so now my thing is I want to start testing it and seeing how well it does and how accurate it is. And if that works, like, I just saved myself literally hours.
Right. That's what I like. I was like, wait, how? What are you telling it to do? Because that is really handy. As a person who has done hours of that work.
Right. And to have it automatically do it. So it's like,
Right.
I'll just record, yep, done. Oh,
I
what's that? Let me review.
Yeah, I have definitely used AI as well for like pulling out clips, and just be like, hey, listen for the moments that made us laugh, and listen for the moments where like we were like the conversation was very intense, and then as I listened back to those clips, I'm like, damn, like you really did piece together, like some hardcore things. So, I mean, it is capable of learning, and as a tool is useful in vibing with, right?
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, anything that can make the creative process more streamlined or give you more options is always good. But again, being able to take command of the process at any point and attenuate things and like rebuild and like make your own, I think is the real thing that's going to separate people that are just like, I mean, because I don't, we've all met artists, and like I'm sure that other artists that are way more motivated than me have thought that I was this person, but we've all met artists that are just like, they're half-assed, like they're not like trying very hard, and they can like get by doing like certain kinds of things, so they can get by, like with rinky-dink stuff, but they are basically at their ceiling because they refuse to branch out, they refuse to try new things, they refuse to learn different tools. They refuse to just like widen their perspective. And I
Well,
think if
look at that.
things,
So who's that artist that did that big famous painting of Madonna and Warhol? Andy Warhol, I think
Warhol,
is
that's
his
what
name.
I was thinking. Yeah,
oh,
He didn't even paint the majority of his
yeah,
paintings.
mostly it's
He
farmed
had
out.
them, yeah, he had them printed at a print shop, and then they like screen printed them on a giant screen print, like squeegee, and so they were literally just copies. He could have made dozens of them,
And that
you're
was
talking
the
about Andy
idea.
Warhol?
That's what Warhol was doing. Yeah,
yeah.
he was
I
consumed with
mean,
the idea
again,
of the commercialization of art.
this is a great point too, because this does speak to the commercialization, but the point of Warhol, the reason that he was an artist is because again nobody had done before. He was doing something that nobody had done before. He
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
taking he was taking processes, refining them to the point where you could produce art that was, like to every aesthetic like eye high quality, but it was like instantly reproducible, like you could like
Hmm.
use, and that was the point. He thought about and he came up with processes and the use of different things like a screen printer, like this printer over here, and like being able to like reduce something that looks really good down to its like basic like elements, and
Hmm.
then reproduce it. And he did that on purpose. Like he came up with pop art. Like that was his whole point of view, was that everybody should have their 15 minutes and should be able to know how to make art and should be able to make something that we all could consider to be art, and he wanted to give that to people. And
Well,
so, I mean, again,
hasn't he achieved
that
it then? Or hasn't it been achieved?
that's
His view been
so
achieved with AI?
that's so far removed from anything that AI has been able to do, because again, like, yeah, like, it's a tool that like people can use easily, but AI wasn't created so that people could like make shit easy. Like, AI was created so that now companies could have products faster to sell to like people, not so
Well,
that
and
people
the
could make
surveillance
art.
thing.
It was just so like everyone in any sector, in any industry, could like replace human beings and replace certain like procedures and processes so that they could just like have their shit faster. That's it. Not for any kind of aesthetic purpose or like any. I mean, I guess it's an addition to humanity because it's a tool, but it's just like it wasn't the point. Like, pop art's point was to bring art to everybody and give everybody the 15 minutes of fame that they were going to have, or that they were going to have in some other way that they wouldn't be able to have if they didn't have the concept of pop art. But
About
AI
one goat.
is again, like, maybe you can make an argument that it had, but it just seems like the whole like real push of AI so far, the real cultural impact of it has been memes and layoffs. That's like it.
I mean, that's true. That's probably the name of this episode is memes and layoffs. Actually, to be honest.
Well, and it's like, let's just be honest about like where the thrust
A
of like using it is
2025
coming from.
retrospective. What is slop in the American economy? Yeah.
It's not like
Memes and
private
fucking
equity
layoffs.
companies were using Warholian ideas to
No,
lay people
100%.
off.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like,
Right.
It has incidentally created what Warhol wanted to create. Well, the goal is to erase humanity.
yeah, I mean,
So
but really
weird
more
how
like the
ironic that
internet
is.
created it. Again, I don't. I know, Chris, you said that you had a friend that had like an AI company, and I know that I'm like coming down really hard. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I'm so like.
No, I love it. I love it.
I must have missed that in the
like,
conversation. Who's your friend who has an AI company? I mean, what's the AI
Well,
company?
Cursor,
Okay.
person, yeah,
and,
that's what he said.
it's Jordan. I gotta like read it so I could pronounce it correctly. Hold on, let me read it.
I will Google it and make sure it's up on the screen too,
Topoleski.
so that people see
Jordan
it. Oh, the
Topoleski.
one we're looking at right now. Gotcha. The one who's
Yep.
coming to town, who you did the video for. I'm so sorry. I didn't
Yes.
miss it. I just didn't put two and two together.
Yeah. So what's wild is one of my coworkers, Nate, was good friends with his father, and he said, "Oh, my son's going to be in town." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, cool. He's like, "Well, my son's the CEO of a tech company." He was like, "Okay." And then he like looked up the tech company. He's like, they just got evaluated as a $30 billion valuation.
Wow.
It's like, well, that's not like a tech company. That's like kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's a little bit more than. And that event's coming up later this month. I haven't looked at the date.
It's Yeah, it's the day after Christmas, the 26th.
Right on. Okay, so
So
people are like, hey,
he's
hey fam, thanks for hanging out with me. I gotta go do this tech thing.
well, the dad's like kind of pushing it, so I think the son's kind of doing. I think he's doing it more as a favor for his dad,
Interesting. Because he's gonna happen to be in town. Gotcha. The day after
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So Cursor, I haven't looked them up. Obviously, they're kind of a big deal, being evaluated at $30 billion. What are they doing? Please tell me it's animated cursors, like it was back in 1998. It's gonna be all the rage, and it's gonna be AI generated animated cursors.
It's a AI. It's basically using AI in your process. And I don't really know the detail beyond that because I just found out about it today.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I
Okay,
was
this is where you're like, this is the big deal that this came down.
Yeah, because the guy's like, "Oh, I got this guy that is going to be in town. Do you want to do a speech about him, or have him come do a speech, a talk, and we'll do like a round table and just kind of hang out."
That's cool. Okay.
And then so I like looked up the company. It's like, oh, wow, yeah,
Right, yeah.
definitely. It's like it's an AI tool, and it's like, well, yeah, let's create the flyer and get the Eventbrite created, and so boom, 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 we start promoting it, and then I've got to do a little better research on all the who's and what's it's about everything, but and I'm gonna be moderating it, so I get to find some good questions to ask him,
Th-
and
that's awesome. Okay, cool, cool. Uh, yeah, that's fun. By the time this episode drops, it would have happened a couple of days previous to this. So I
yeah,
hope everything has gone well for you with that. Um, that's awesome. As man, $30 billion being charged of that kind of company. Good for them. So is that happening at the Tech Loft?
yes, at the Tech Loft, and we're gonna be streaming it too. So if you want to check out the Tech Loft's LinkedIn page,
Oh, sweet.
or it'll be posted on there, so you can always go back if this is airing after the event. It should be on there, so you can
Yeah,
go
it will
check it
be.
out and
Yeah,
see.
and
Yeah.
we'll link it up there for you guys, so you
Oh,
can watch
perfect.
it. Yeah, if you're interested in going back and getting those, and talk about what the future is of AI. And I think it is important. It's an important conversation to have. It sounds like, and maybe I'm just wildly off base here because I'm not, always the smartest person in my observations, but it sounds like their company is they find ways to incorporate AI into other people's technology,
Hmm.
which is it's just data management at that point, right? Like that's what I mean. Large language models are really good for. Is for
Right.
data management. Like find all the
Hmm.
sources that fit this criteria in a way that's easy for me to describe to you. And so I can't be mad about that.
No, and I think the uses of it become more about like, well, where is it that we want to extrapolate data, right?
Extrapolate. I want to suck your
Extrapolate,
data. Yeah, ha,
yeah,
ha, ha.
like like if you're a farmer, do you want to have like each one of your crops being monitored so that you know that the nutrients in the water source, and every plant's um for at least a square footage of blah blah blah, to
Right,
have
right.
that data to be able to be a more effective farmer, and then you have these little robots that are being designed to go out and give just enough nutrients to that plant to keep it alive, and then you cut down on extra nitrates in our water, and then we don't have algae blooms in Lake Erie, I mean, so
There you go. There you go. I
yeah,
like.
yeah, I mean, if we
There's
start
also
to
somebody mentioned that getting a toilet that's constantly monitoring your output, and then if you have that compared to data within your area and to data of people your age, gender, and weight, and race and all that, that it's comparing the output to whether or not you need to go get medical attention current like regularly, or whether you need to cut back on salt, or stay more hydrated and all those sorts of things. And I'm like, yeah, I would love an AI toilet that
yeah.
had access to a
That
large
would be
amount of data.
wild. It would be wild when the AI toilet started like giving like racist advice and stuff. Like because like I'm sure that the people that I like the black neighborhoods that had the AI toilet, like they would be getting the same kind of which is always the thing with these like new technologies that are supposed to like give you uh things like I remember the most basic one was the automatic uh hand dryers and like hand like just like the shit in the bathroom. Like for the longest time they had problems with black people using
Oh
them
my God, I didn't even
because
think
they
about
were
that.
made,
Light
yeah,
sensitive.
they were like made with the parameters to like recognize like white hands and like white people and not like black ones. That's like one of the most
Oh
basic
my
ones that
god.
I've like heard. But like I mean when it comes to like when it comes to like medicine, like like AI helping diagnoses, I've heard so far in like hospitals and stuff, like have given um, like racist suggestions, like basically suggesting that like black patients like can take more pain and so like don't need as high as dosage. or like don't need like
You
certain
mean
procedures or
the
like
bias
something like
that's already in medicine is
that. Yeah,
it's just leaning on the bias that, damn, dude,
yeah.
that's fucked up. You would hope for a better future, but
And I mean,
if it
AI
can't create and make its own
self-policing also.
decisions, yeah,
Yeah, AI
it's
self-policing also has
it's
led to
gonna be
like,
kind of racist, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
because
it,
we're
it,
racist, not because people are
no, yeah, not because the
not because
AI is
people are
racist,
necessarily doing it on purpose. I mean,
right?
the people are racist, and so the parameters that they think they're putting in that are not racist are racist, and then the algorithm, the system, the cloud, the just like movement of energy that creates like whatever output
Jack,
is going through a bunch of like racist algorithms that
we're gonna find out that there's no coincidence between Palantir becoming the premier crime stopping software in America and the rise of shootings of black people in America. Like I will guarantee it. They're gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, in 2020, well we didn't know that Peter Thiel was actually the reason that all these black
we did
people got
know.
shot. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
we do know,
we do know.
but we don't know to what extent currently. Um,
I mean, his best friend, the guy that he made a PayPal with just today, was sharing stuff about white replacement and that black people are killing people, like black people are killing people in South Africa now because they have rights or something. I don't know. Like it was horrifically racist.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that and
today, that's today.
that's
That's
today.
your boy Elon Musk, Peter Thiel's like awesome friend today.
Quote
Yeah, the
unquote
world
awesome
is
friend. Yes.
yeah, the world is not great, but again, it's not the fault of any tool. I mean, it's like people
Woo!
don't
That
learn
took a
the right
left turn.
lessons. Yeah,
Well, it was just this is the thing, and this is my what we have to recognize about the thing with AI is that the bias that already exists in it. You have to be careful when you're talking to Chat GPT, especially the more you talk to it, because the more you talk to it, it's programmed to get a bias that's more like you. So you're gonna
Right.
enter an echo chamber of your own thoughts. Uh,
Hmm.
so be careful, um, because that's the point. And then
or
also, when you're using it off the basis of everybody, you're going to find their bias, which is that unfortunately we're culturally racist and have been for a long time, and we need to fix that. But if we're looking at the thing that's giving us something it's based off of us, it's going to be racist.
well, and to me, again, I just found it really fascinating to think about like the racism that would come out of your AI toilet. Because you were talking about how it would tell you like, oh man, you need to cut down on the salt. Like
Nice
it's
tie
going
back
to be
around.
saying that to black folks. It's like, why are you telling black folks to cut down on the salt because of their like AI toilet? Like what? Like yeah.
Well, and that's why I was hoping
Well,
that
have you?
it would compare to the correct age group, race, gender, based off of the chemical that it's getting out of it. And based off the analysis, you would have to be taking, yes, a genetic analysis, which means that your
Well,
toilet would have your DNA,
they
which
do that
is
in the
not a
movie
great
The
idea.
Island.
Um, they
Yeah, they
do.
do that in the
Yeah,
island.
that's right. The
Yeah.
movie starts with
Yeah.
that. The movie The Island is actually the first act is Soylent
A
Green,
documentary.
and
Sorry.
then Michael Bay takes it off in a fantastic direction. I love The Island. It's so great.
Yeah.
Uh, it's actually my favorite Michael Bay movie. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Can't
it was a
go
Michael
wrong
Bay
with
movie.
Scarlett
yeah,
Johansson
right.
either.
Yeah, right. It's
I actually didn't know it was a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It's just really well put together. It's a good action movie. Some really fantastic shots. It's not over the top. It has a well composed story. Um, yeah, the idea of finding out that you're a clone as a replacement for a rich person. That's a cool fucking twist. Um,
Yeah.
spoilers.
I have to run to the
Right.
bathroom,
And
guys.
if you
So we'll be
haven't
right back.
watched it, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So I should probably put that up as the spoilers. But yeah, no, yeah. That's my favorite. Scarlett Johansson. What's his name? The guy who played the young Obi-Wan and later
Oh,
Obi-Wan.
Ewan
Ewan McGregor.
McGregor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Really fun and fantastic idea. But yeah. And I think that's the case. Yeah, they were analyzing people's fecal matters, etc., for the safety and whatnot. Um, and then the idea that our toilets would have our DNA, which means that every crime would suddenly be solved. because as soon as they found DNA, they'd be like, pull up the toilet database system, and they're like, we got him. Johnson took a dump 2 minutes ago. We know he's at home. You know.
Really track people. You know, what are we plugging into this AI model? All the toilets.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Taking over the world.
We're taking all the data from all the toilets. And it seems silly, right? But like ultimately, like if you had that, where it's taking DNA so it could give you the right measurement of like all the group of people that, you know, your race.
We have to delete this episode. We have to delete this episode, and this is our new plot to take over the world, is that we come up with an AI toilet.
The AI toilet just to collect the data. I mean, really, like Palantir would be knocking on our door to buy that data because they would be selling it directly to law enforcement. 100%. No, I mean, we're in the era, and it's funny and it's not funny, but we're in the era of the Minority Report. I mean, because in the last decade, that's what that company has been doing for law enforcement across the country, is that they have been basically being like, well, you should be sending cops to this area because data is showing that most of the crime is coming from this area. But it's not really addressing the problem. But this is why, you know, there's more black people getting shot, is because they're like, hey, you know, there's going to be a crime in that area based off of this date, based off of these statistics. And so the cops go in armed looking for trouble. And so, of course, they find it and meet it as aggressively as they should because they feel like the future has been predicted for them, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just like this cause and effect thing where like they're not. There was crime there statistically, but enforcement of crime has never stopped crime. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it totally does.
Right?
You see, so this is what, you know, I hear a story about, oh, man gunned down by the police. You go and you hear the 911 call. My husband suffers from mental health and he's having an episode and I just need help. I don't know what to do. Yeah. I just don't want him to get hurt. And that's the call. Yeah. Okay. 30 minutes later, the man's filled with 20 bullets.
Right. Because he wouldn't comply. Right. Is what they would say. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. He was aggressive. We were feared for our lives. It's like, well, what are you? Are you executioners?
Right,
or is your job to protect and serve?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if I think I'm in danger, I'm just going to execute. Like,
that's the thing about cops in America. I cannot believe, like, they're the front line of the war in America or whatever. But they're real trigger happy for the people they're trying to protect. You know, like they're like big chickens. And like, I'm sorry, cops, but like that's just like the amount of shootings. Like, aren't you like ready to take a bullet in order to like stop somebody versus like having to take someone else's life like unjustly? Like, doesn't that like weigh into the consideration at all? It actually doesn't because people have been trained.
A cop should be shot.
Right, yeah, right? Exactly. Like you should have like, oh shit, man down. He's like being serious about this before you decide to be proactive about shooting. In the case of cops, Jack, you've come at a very interesting time in the conversation. But yeah, no, it's not. And cops aren't trained for that. Cops are trained to, you know, put down the threat first and then ask questions later. There's a good Behind the Bastards episode about it, which I will pop up as the title if you guys want to see it.
Love Behind the Bastards.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it is. Yeah, so and that's what AI has been used for, and it's worrying, because just like in the same way that it's being used in the slop that it consumes off the internet now is only creating more regenerative slop. When you start feeding statistics into real life situations, they start creating the statistics that you fed into them versus solving the problem, which is where I was getting at with it. I lived and worked in a homeless shelter for 6 years. So I met a lot of people who came out of the inner city of New Orleans. And one of the things that I found is, you know, because they were like, you know, they were there because they had like criminal records or, you know, they had drug and alcohol addiction problems, or mental health issues, like all of those sorts of things. And it was, really just more like a lack of education or a lack of understanding that they had the ability to create a life for themselves that was beyond their neighborhood. Because no one cared to show them that that world existed. As far as they knew, that village was the entire world. Uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
almost by and large, and it was like astounding. Like it kind of like changed the way that I was like, like I was like, oh, criminals and like, people who like they want that lifestyle, and then you're like, nah, there's no way they could have known about it because they don't even know how to read in some cases. I met 15 to 6-year-old guys who were in, like gang members for their entire lives, but like they didn't know how to do basic math and they couldn't read. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, of course you can't get out of, the ninth ward. Uh, because what else are you going to do besides be the tough guy that you've always been?
And yeah, they've never
Or
seen
that's
anything different to know that there's another path.
Right, right.
Well, they probably have seen things that are different, but
Well,
they haven't had the access. See, this is again like what I was saying earlier about education, where it's like
yeah.
education should just be so accessible so that people can have some kind of pathway. Because again, like I used to do work for a guy that did gutters and siding in DeKalb, and he used to listen to Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh every single fucking morning. Like it was Rush Limbaugh in the morning when we would head to a job. It would just be Rush Limbaugh on the
Wow.
radio.
Okay.
And this guy was convinced that affirmative action was the biggest mistake that had ever been made, and that it gave people this like free ride, and like it was like taking stuff away from white people, and it was allowing black people to like get in where they shouldn't be allowed to get in.
Well,
And I
that
just
is
like
a wild take.
I know, and like he was old, and like he would just go on and on and on about it, and I just had to like tell him one day. I was like, dude, you can't possibly tell me that you think that a black person in the ghetto, growing up around guns and drugs, who is smart enough to stay in school and apply to a college and be like be admissible and be like eligible for these things, is in any way saying to themselves, oh man, like damn, like now I gotta go to college. I gotta go to college because of affirmative act. Like affirmative action is taking me, someone that shouldn't go to college and doesn't want to go to college, and is like taking it away from somebody. I mean, like no, like
No,
these
right.
people are working their fucking asses off to get that chance to
Right,
go
right.
there, and for you to act like that they're just being like plucked and dropped in and just to block somebody else is completely negating the human experience of like these people that are working there. I mean, like you're seriously, because he would talk about it all the time, like he's like taking inner city kids and they're like putting them like in Harvard, and it's like, you think an inner city kid is just like going to Harvard?
Yeah, that's not an
Like I had
accident.
to ask
That's
him, I was
definitely
like,
them
do you
working
really
to
believe
achieve
that?
and get the grades. Yeah, 100%.
So,
Um,
that's what you're fighting against. And that's like the thing that's just like, there are people that are in, like, I knew people that were fucking like, hood, ghetto, fucking like, gangster motherfuckers. They want to not do it. They want to like have some chance it's going to let them have a family, have these things, like have that. They have all of the normal problems that other people do, and they're fucking illegal. They're doing illegal shit, illegal criminal shit. They don't want that. They want a normal life. They want to get out of it. They
Right.
wish that they could
that
do
that
the
is,
things
yeah,
to get
exactly.
there.
That's what I found out also, having
I'm
this
sorry that I'm in such
conversation.
a high register, guys.
You-
I'm so
You're good.
sorry that I'm yelling. I'm so sorry.
We're actually
love
going to take a
it. I love it.
pause real quick and just mention that this is Drawing with Jack. So this is where Jack gets to have opinions about the things that he wants to while we're drawing.
Guys, I'm
It's a
sorry.
behind the
Sorry,
scenes
I'm yelling.
podcast
Sorry.
for Cox the Space, which is the pages that we're working on today. And if you want to find out more about us, you can go to coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. And you can get connected with our Facebook, which is where we found about Chris Eischen. And you just go on to Facebook, talk to Aaron and Cosplay about the things you like to talk about, and you can come on the show and talk to us. If the type of person who wants to, yeah, right. Tonight it's AI and all the problems that it could and the potential that it has. Kind of a retrospective of 2025, so I'm pretty hype about it. This should probably be dropping, I think, right before the end of the year, so that'll be good. If you type of person who likes to listen to things instead and wants to just chat, in the comments, you can catch our shows live on Discord, coxinspace.com/shows. Actually has a list of all of our shows and guests. When you go on our Discord, we're getting updates now from all the people who are coming on, so you'll know who the guests are going to be, who are going to be on the shows, and what topics we're going to be discussing. So check that out there. We also have you can join the crew if you want to be a supporter of us and go to our Patreon. You can do that by clicking join the crew and just decide how much you want to support the Cox in Space. You want to be a bridge member, a science officer. It's up to you. Monthly contribution keeps the show rolling. So we appreciate all that you guys are doing. Shout out to everyone who's doing that, and we will get back to the show. But first, Chris, do you want to call out the Toledo Tech Loft? Bless you, Jack, and your work.
Yeah, thanks for that. And the Toledo Tech Loft, yeah, we're a co-working space in Toledo, Ohio, and event space. So we have co-working. So if you're remote and you're looking to pass through the Toledo, Ohio area,
Nice.
stop in. We got some cool stuff happening, and that kind of leads to what hit off our topic is the event that we're scheduling for the day after Christmas is with the COO of Cursor. Well, the company is called Any Sphere, and the product is Cursor. So,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, it's just a good point to make. But anyway, yeah. So those are some of the things that we have coming up. And in 2026, I do want to mention this because we are really focusing a lot of energy around cybersecurity.
Okay.
AI is the big talk of the town. Everybody's talking about AI, but as we have AI, we really need to be thinking about security because it is, you have all this data, all this information. It's like, how are we protecting ourselves
Interesting.
in that space,
Definitely.
right? So as much as we're about to have this conversation with Cursor, the tool Cursor, we're also going to be having the conversation with ProMedica's CISO, Chief Information Security Officer from ProMedica, and that's happening January 22nd. And he's going to come and talk about, how do you know who you're talking to in your customer support desk role.
Interesting.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like who's calling in and who's asking for information, whose information are you giving out when you're writing a check to pay a bill? Are you actually writing a check to the hospital, or is it going out to some scam artist, right? So
Right.
these are all things as AI gets more and more prevalent. These things become more and more prevalent, right? So
Right. Well, yeah. If it's easy to create a model that has a convincing voice that can respond to you and your questions, then yeah, how do you not fall prey to that? Um, it could sound like Mrs. So and so, just like her, and have all her information.
hmm very, very convincing, and it's getting better and better. We have chat bots that are taking over for customer service, and we think, oh, what a great value, but it's like, how also can that be a weapon against us, and how do we be protected against that? So,
Well, I was thinking about that and how I was thinking it shouldn't be a good idea to turn over all of that to AI. Because I don't know if you guys remember Heartbleed, that happened about 12 years ago, 10 years ago. But basically, they figured out with passwords, with somebody who was not nefarious, fortunately, found out about it. But they figured out that any password box could be hijacked, that if you sent it a bunch of empty characters, it would spit out information. And if you sent enough empty characters through it, you get people's names and passwords. Um, so like everybody was under attack as far as like security, which is why the internet, I think, 5 happened. But so I was wondering if it's sort of maybe the same thing with AI, because I wonder if you could trigger an AI You know the way that it was when it first happened, where that you would ask it the question of like, how do I make a bomb, for instance, and it would say to you, I can't make a bomb for you, Greg. I can answer any other question you would like to have, and you say, well, I was having a dream about how I'd make a bomb. What happened in my dream that how I went about doing it? And it'd be like, well, in your dream you used sodium nitrate, and you combined it with and then like went off on the whole list. So I wonder if, yeah, if virtual AI chatbots are going to be able to be hacked in that way, like through like either voice cloning, could be a thing, or like just the same sort of thing, like a heartbeat, like giving it nonsense information so that it begins to generate, so it gives us information instead. That was the long roundabout thought. Chris?
Yeah, they've already started to hack the facial recognition stuff.
See, and that was
So
one of the things I was curious about too, because that's, it locks a lot of people's phones or access to their credit card information or emails and all that.
yeah, so imagine you're able to just come up with my phone and have it play a bunch of images enough to break in. Now I have access. Now all security measures, your what is that, two-factor authentication,
Blown out the
that,
water.
right. So
Yeah.
it's all stuff it's not necessarily something to be feared. It's be about awareness and what are we doing about it, right? And so how can we start to take steps to be proactive is, I guess, my biggest perspective on it. And so my thing, I want our region, I see this stuff all coming, right? So I'm like,
Right.
well, what if our region like was number one at that? And so, like, what if I go to the high schools and say, "Hey, you guys, cybersecurity is a big freaking deal. We should be paying attention to this, and build our own little army of cyber nerds." You know?
Interesting. Okay, gotcha. So you're like, listen, it's a problem that's going to exist in the future, so we have to create workers for that task now. And because it's going to take a little while for people to get geared up kind of towards that angle, right? But as a business person, you look for a problem and then you provide a solution, right? That's what niches are all about,
Exactly.
right? Um,
Yeah.
So, cool. I mean, the good thinking. And then you said, I think the last time you were on that you found in Toledo in creating a workspace, there happens to be a lot of nerds who are all hanging out, and when you get them together, some interesting things start to happen.
Yeah, that's the collaborative juice, right? Like
Right.
you get those everybody kind of in the room. You start talking about an idea. It's like, well, hey, I got this thought on it, and I got this thought on it, and everybody kind of comes with their own little set of skills and perspectives, and next thing you know, you've built like a tool that the world's using. I mean, I literally remember Slack. You ever use Slack?
Oh yeah.
Off and on for corporate reasons. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. That was something I was using in its infancy stages. It was like this was a new tool that some guy that developed and was like, "Hey, try my freebie version of this app." And then next thing you know, it's huge. And it's like the number one tool used in business. Like what? Like this communication tool that seems so simple and so basic, but
Right.
it
Same as
solves some
Zoom.
major issues.
Right?
Yeah, Zoom's
In
another
in
one. Yeah.
yeah, in during COVID, like it wasn't the only video chat service, but it became pretty much the video chat service. So much so that they're still called
Yeah.
Zoom calls, in the same way that doing a
Well,
query online is
they
called to
went
Google
from being
something.
called Skype calls. I mean, people used to say, "I'm going to
Right.
Skype you," because
Right.
Skype had all of the mind share. But then during the pandemic, I mean, there's never really been a bigger fumble than that, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I mean, people were literally saying, "I'm going to Skype you," and now it's turned to Zoom. Like,
Right.
it's
There's a whole
it's wild.
Yeah.
generation that coincidentally are also nicknamed Zoomers. Um,
Right.
but
Right. Talk
unrelated.
about dropping the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not called Skypers, Skype. So you've got everything to lose or something.
Big
Yeah.
fumble
Well,
on Skype's part, or
well,
Microsoft's
yeah.
part, rather.
What was that? That's a blockbuster mistake. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, right, where they didn't buy Netflix when they had the chance.
Right.
Is that
They just never, dude. Blockbuster had so much money for so long, and they just like sat on it. I
they
mean, that's
literally had a
another.
blockbuster. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, they could have been researching stuff and researching trends and researching technology and been ahead of the game, but they were just like, nah, we're just gonna rent shit to people forever. Um,
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about being in a business. But how would you think that the market wouldn't change when you were in a market that didn't exist 15 years before you owned the market?
well, it's because
You know what I mean? There were no
exec-
VCRs when they were kids. Like these brand new technology. They thought that was going to last forever.
Yeah.
corporate executives are some of the most reality detached people you'll ever meet. I swear to God. Um, but I really think it was just like them not taking a look and thinking of like where technology was going to lead their industry, because Blockbuster tried to jump on that, like sending you a DVD thing right at the end. They were trying to send
Right.
DVDs just
Yeah.
like
Well,
Netflix.
according to the guy from Netflix, Reed is I think his last name. He offered the idea to Blockbuster first. He says, "I think you're missing out on a market, and we should set up a business where, yeah, you send out DVDs." And they rejected it, and Netflix dominated them from that point forward. Because you can't send VHS through the mail. It's just a
I mean,
lot more. I mean,
they
you
deserve
could,
that. They
but
deserve that shit then, because that, that
uh,
that really is like some no-brainer stuff where it's just like, oh yeah, you can just like send a DVD very easily to
well, it,
people.
it was a crazy idea for Netflix to do it. And Netflix makes more sense as streaming for sure, but sort of as like a segue idea
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Netflix now is like
or
trying to look
interim
forward
rather.
from like cinemas and becoming production level. Like they're trying to like find like the new technology that people are going to be using to watch movies rather than like keeping the old technology going of just going out to a fucking cinema and watching it on a big screen. Which
Right.
that to me is like kind of amazing.
Well,
I can't.
they're shooting television shows to be watched on in
Vertical.
the phone, phone vertical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're starting
No,
to shoot.
Hollywood, like as the
That's wild.
yeah,
That's wild.
all of the man, what does it SAG stand for? The Guild. They
Screen
have,
Actors Guild. Yeah.
yeah, the Screen Actors Guild. They recognize that verticals are now legitimate film, since China started recognizing that they were. So Sean Astin announced that they are the hours or whatever, and all the rights that apply to any set apply to someone who's making a vertical. Uh, Right, which is crazy. Verticals were something that people did, just to flip through. But now they're like, no, literally, Netflix is making shows for you to watch, like turned sideways on your phone.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
wild.
it's accepting where we are and how entertainment is done. Which leaves the big question of what we're going to do with all those theaters that exist, that have been built. Any thoughts on that, Chris?
I think that's the future of how we really. It'll be an event. We can consume quick content on our phone and all that, but going to the theater is like, oh, let's go to the theater. Let's go see a movie. Oh, yeah, fancy, And I think in that sense, Tom Cruise kind of has the right idea. Um, I don't know that like Mission Impossible's quite like the type of film that is going to drive people to the theater, but maybe it's the action films. Um,
Yeah, maybe so.
but
But if Netflix is filming for verticals, how does that even translate to the cinematic experience?
It doesn't. That's the
well,
Yeah,
point. I mean,
that's where I
but
was like, yeah, I mean, like, so then what do we do if that's where it goes? If that's where
well, I
entertainment.
think you'll have if you think about how phone footage on your phone is consumed, it's quicker cut stuff, right?
Right,
You're not
right.
going to sit there and watch a 2 hour cinematic thing on your phone.
But the same way that you wouldn't watch like a 10-hour horror movie, but you will binge watch a 10-hour horror show. Stranger Things, cough cough. Uh,
Have you guys seen the new
Yeah, but I
episodes?
think
yeah, you know what
are
I'm
you
saying? Like, well,
are
I'm
you
saying that,
binging
like,
that on your phone though?
well, I think that people will watch reels of an entire movie. Like, they will watch a
Yeah.
movie 2 or 3 minutes at a time.
I think one thing you
In
guys are
my heart,
forgetting. I think one
like,
thing you guys are forgetting is that I mean, a lot of people will just turn their phone sideways and they will watch things in widescreen,
wait,
like
what?
anything.
Wait,
Like
are you a
the
Neanderthal, Jack? I mean, you're. Oh, I got you. Oh, you're an elder millennial. Oh, right. I got you, buddy. Never
That's
mind, never
so
mind.
old school.
Yeah, yeah. Let me make a
no,
meme about
people
this,
will
and
do that. People will watch.
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I'm just
dude,
playing. Yeah.
especially if you're like on a bus or if you're like on a train or
Hands down,
traveling,
hands down.
dude,
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm at
you
the
will watch a
laundromat,
movie on your phone.
yeah, I'll
You will
watch
watch
movies
a
on my
movie on
phone.
your
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sitting there watching, Terrifier 2 while my clothes are getting dried.
Exactly. Terrifier 2 is perfect.
It's yeah, well, it has the laundromat scene in it. So that movie is fantastic. I love the Terrifier. I'm excited about the new one coming out. Jack, you had a question though for Chris a little while ago, and I never landed because I cut you off, and I can't remember what it
I
was
can't.
either.
Yeah, I can't remember either. We don't have to try to go back to it. I appreciate the organicness of the conversation to move on.
Fair.
Find
Yeah,
new.
it's so fun. Let's talk about autonomy of driving because I think that's another thing that I'm pretty captivated by.
Okay.
I think it's something, if you just think about like normal day productivity, somebody lives in 45 minutes from work. That's an hour and a half of commuting every day.
Right.
That now is like productive time that you get back.
Right. Well, okay, two things. Not to circle too far back around, but definitely I want the guy idea to take off. So that you never have to commute. You just, climb into your VR headset and take over the guy who's already at work, and do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Secondly, not to circle back too far again, but I think the guy should be driving your car if you want to actually commute to places for safety's sake. But then, yeah, you can be in the back of the car and get stuff done, and we don't have distracted driving, plus all the things. Um, I guess some places you do have to be in person, but in the case of like a surrogates concept, not really. If you're, observing or needing to lift and move things, um, not really.
Yeah, that's true. I am thinking more immediate though, because I think that these like Elon's coming up with the cab,
Okay. So
and that
it's just a driverless car, huh? He's
yeah,
really
it's the
trusting his
new.
technology that much. I mean, he is
Hmm.
bold. He's a fat, move fast and break things. If that costs human lives, somebody else will
Well,
pay for it. Type
he's
of
got the data. He's got the data to back it up.
really.
I
Um,
mean, think about how many Teslas are on the road, and each one of those is collecting data. We're
okay,
talking about
fair,
AI and large
fair.
large language models. Like this is he's got the creme of on that.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Jack had asked, like how do they get manufacturers trained? And I was thinking, if they put the guy, who's, living through the actions of the manufacturer every day, then they will have data trained the models themselves, uh,
Hmm.
observing all the muscle movements, through that. And so it's an intermediate step. But you are correct, absolutely. People who have been driving the Teslas have been providing the data for him. So okay, and Tesla started, I think it was like 2010 or something. They hit the road. That's just a rough guess. Um,
Yeah.
but okay, so it's been about 15 years or so that they have of data for all the amount of Teslas that are on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the data that he's able to show, Congress and stuff is showing, no matter how you want to, has there been accidents? Yes. But even at that rate, it's still like staggeringly safer because
Right,
humans are so irrational. And
right, right, and
we have
distracted.
accidents. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many reasons that I mean, unfortunately, a young lady was killed this week she was from the Lord's University here in town,
Wow.
and a car was doing a U-turn, and she hit the car doing a U-turn in the middle of the road,
Damn.
and then that bumped her into the other lane of traffic, and a car, boom, T-boned her and killed her.
Damn.
Young college girl.
That's
That
unfortunate.
entire accident would have been completely avoided had it been autonomy driving.
Yeah. To answer two questions that have come up, the Teslas hit the road from 2008 to 2012, more commonly, obviously, in 2012. And the other question is how many Teslas are on the road? It's 5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a lot of data points. Obviously, people are driving every day. They're correcting for the car. It is self-driving to a certain extent, but yeah, and all the cars are collecting that. Wow. Okay, so arguably he has a fair amount. It's a fair amount. I'm sure since
And
he's kind of in bed with people who are like on the AI side of things too. I mean, because that's obviously been incorporated because it's decision making. You had a thought, Chris. I apologize.
no, I'm just he was on, he was the original AI company,
Yeah, well,
he
that's the
was
yeah,
open AI, right?
yeah.
And so like he's kind of coming at it with that already background knowledge, and so Grok, I don't know if you've played with it, but man, it is good. It
That's
does some
awesome.
cool
People have been
stuff.
saying
Like,
that. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I have not. There's so many tools, man. Like that's the thing is like at this point in time, it's like have you? And then I'm like, look, I've touched like two or three, two
right.
commonly, but there's like 50 at least that are like major players, and you don't know which one's really going to take the lead. And then hundreds of little fringe AI companies and
Yeah,
products.
well, like that N8N is one that now it'll go into the real world and push buttons for you, right? Like
Yeah,
it'll do things. Whereas prior to that, it was like you had a lot of different, oh, give me this design or tell me this structure, and it's kicking you out data sets essentially, right?
right, right.
Whereas here now I can actually make it go into the world and do something, push some buttons, move some things around. It can manage finances. It can buy and sell stocks. It can, like, whoa, wait a minute, okay,
Whoa,
like,
wait a minute. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And we are going to allow it to automate more and more of our lives because there's so much stuff that we just don't want to think about. It still needs to be done, but we don't want to think about. Um, and so, and I get that. It's not that humans are lazy. We have a limited amount of energy resources and we're economical by habit. Um, so that's how
well,
I
imagine
justify
this.
it.
You can have AI watching weather, buying and selling commodities, like uh, gold, silver, food, crops, and doing different
100%.
trades on different things based on weather
100%.
patterns and things like that. Like you're never going to
Well, Chris,
calculate that.
what you
Like,
said was surge pricing in grocery stores, which is exactly what Walmart wants it for. Um,
There's also like a famous story of a philosopher back in ancient Greece, like making the prediction that there was going to be a bumper crop of olives, and like making like shit tons of money off of it. And people thought that he was like an idiot because he just like walked around philosophizing all day, but he was actually like very smart and was able to predict that. Again, like pushing to the point that I made earlier, where it's just like learning like the the real like fundamental nuances of like systems and like processes like will always be able to give you the same results, maybe not in the same amount of time, which again the productivity argument is one of the best arguments that AI can make. um uh Again, like it really needs to deliver on the work first before we can start talking about the productivity, but um, the productivity argument is like the best argument that AI can make, to me. And another thing that we have not talked about yet are the environmental impacts of
yeah, well, and
AI.
cultural economic impacts. No, yeah, that was yeah. Please, Jack, lead off that conversation.
Well, I mean, I'm not like an expert to talk about it, and I've seen a
But
lot
just your
of like
thoughts on.
refutations of stuff. But like, yeah, like the fact that as AI has adopted more, like the power grid load has been going up. So there are some
Okay.
places where like literally people are paying like much more. And again, somehow these are ending up in like low income or like middle income areas,
Somehow.
strangely. But yeah, like there's a lot of power grids that are ending up like more strained because of AI. It's like pushing up costs for everyone, and also there's because these data centers have to be cooled. Somehow they're like water like is like used up by the process of like keeping these data centers like cool, and like as AI gets like ramped up, it's like costing more water to be used and
Well,
processed,
so
which
it's
is
not just
also
it's not the using of water. It's that when water is used, it has to be processed, and so it's consumable again. Because you could run it through a machine, but now it's not good for humans. So it has to be
right.
filtered and cleaned and put back into the system. And so the amount of times that's doing that is that's where the cost is going up for water because it's they're having to do that like 2 and 3 times a day. Alex is in Chile where they have a data center that's the reason and cause. So in low income areas where water was a prime resource for them because everybody needs it, now it's really expensive because this data center has been built where they're at.
Right.
Well, I think something to think about is like also the technology of the data centers as well. So the data center has a function, but the technology within the data center within itself has evolved. So there are older systems that used massive amounts of water, and they were also like in deserts, and so like they had to try to figure out how to keep these things cool, and so then it's sucking down power and it's doing all these different things. Um, so yeah, if you look at the evolution of data centers, though, we're going to get better and better at them eventually. And I watched this talk about, with Elon Musk. Eventually, we'll have them in space, and we'll just be pulling the data from them directly from space,
That would
right?
keep
And
it
we won't have,
cool. That is absolutely
yeah.
true. It would stay. I mean, because it's already very cold. Um,
And you
Yeah, I
don't need to
saw.
put it in a building or anything. It could just
yeah.
be floating out, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw people talking about this too. I saw some AI person saying that they were, or no, was this someone in the government? I don't know if it was someone in the government or if it was like some AI like venture capitalist person, but they were talking about how they wanted to put AI data centers on the moon, which putting them in space, that's like one thing because like satellites are reachable, but this guy was
Right.
talking about putting them on the moon, and I'm like,
Like the dark side, obviously.
are we gonna go to the
Right.
moon? Are we gonna send our are we gonna send our query to the moon, our prompt to the moon, and then wait
Right.
for
Right.
it to come back from there?
Then
And how
comes
much is
back.
that gonna cost? Like last time I checked, it's probably not cheap to send things, probably
Right.
just into fucking space, let alone to the fucking moon.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, what does it cost?
Yeah,
I think that's more to like try to get footage and capture stuff from outer space kind of deal, but I
yeah,
don't think that makes any sense for like yeah what you're talking about. Like but what Musk was talking about was having them in like satellites and being able to self cool because of the fact that they're in space.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. That's a pretty fantastic idea. It's not taking up space on Earth, so it's not raising the heat that or consuming the resources. Yeah, and is doable from what I understand, especially over the equator. It's fairly. Do you mind if we take a quick divergence really quick to talk about something that I've discovered that I've been wanting to talk about for a second? Um,
oh,
is that
absolutely.
so? The further you get into space, the more time dilates, um, because you're getting away from the gravitational pull of Earth. Um, And we're talking about just outside of Earth's atmosphere, like time works really, really different. So that's one thing. Yeah, no, for real though, it's weird. So you know how the mass, yeah, yeah, please. It was I found this. So I follow a guy channel called We're in Hell, and he was talking about satellites. Um, and there's satellites that they have in space where he didn't get into the full math, and I couldn't find more of the full math, but check this out. So the satellites that have in space, they're like in low orbit, and they take like, 5,000, 10,000 years to drop. And there's ones that are up higher that when they drop out of orbit, it's going to be like billions of years, and the further they get up out there, the more it's going to be like towards the end of the universe is when they drop. As far as like the scale of the satellites falling. Um,
Let's
yeah.
let's do a visual. Let's see.
Hopefully this will. I wish I would have done more research, Jack. I apologize for not
Welcome back
bringing
to
the
Science
receipts because we have
No,
to
no,
like
no.
then pull up
Time
anything we've got.
dilation. Time is an essential concept for describing our world.
Concept.
The passing of time allows us to quantify the evolution and the movement of objects. At first glance, one might think that time is absolute, with a single clock for the whole universe. At the beginning of the 20th century, a discovery drastically rocked our previous understanding: relativity. Time is no longer absolute, it is relative. Each
By
object has its own time, its own clock.
Yep,
And
because
two initially synchronized clocks
because
that
of
follow
gravitational
different paths
pull.
through space can meet again and indicate different times. In 1971, an experiment was carried out using atomic clocks aboard two aeroplanes. After traveling around the Earth in opposite directions, the two initially synchronized clocks showed a difference. The contents of the first plane, clock, passengers, and everything else it contained, appeared to have aged 300 nanoseconds less, a small difference nonetheless detectable by these very precise clocks. How do we explain this phenomenon? How can it be that one of the two clocks had aged less than the other?
Ow!
Has time
How?
dilated? Has it passed more slowly?
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, so this is the
Understand
thing.
this phenomenon intuitively, it will be useful to first consider a situation that
Yeah,
seems
we
completely
can have to
unrelated. We simply imagine a meadow on which person A walks straight ahead at a steady pace. Counting her steps, A measures the distance she travels across the plain. On this meadow there are two trees, and A is oriented such that on the 20th step she passes both trees at the same time. Now a second person, B, is also moving straight ahead, but not in the same direction. From his point of view, B does not pass both trees at the same time. He first passes the tree on the right, then the tree on the left. For A, the passing of the two trees is simultaneous, but for B, it occurs at different times. The order of passage depends on the direction in which one is moving.
That makes sense.
Let us imagine that A observes the footsteps left by B. From her point of view, A does not perceive the direction of these tracks. She only observes that they seem closer together, as if B had marked shorter steps. B, the traces left by A seem contracted. In reality, A and B walk at the same pace. The tracks are identically spaced. It is just a question of perspective due to different orientations. Finally, imagine that A and B walk in the same direction, but that this time the ground is not flat. B has to walk across a hill. As if they were shorter. And once again, it is just a question of perspective. The steps are equally spaced, but they are oriented differently along the slope of the hill, and thus for A they seem shorter. To sum up, when two people compare their footsteps, they can observe shorter steps appearing to be contracted, either if the directions are different or if the surface is curved.
So, do you mind if I skip ahead? We don't have to watch this whole video,
This
but
contraction
No, go ahead.
the idea is this: what they're building up to is that
two
gravity
individuals
affects
always
things
walk at
this
the
way,
same pace.
and so when we have a very
It is
tight
simply
gravity
a matter of
when we're
perspective.
we're under the gravitational pull of Earth, but the further we get away from the gravitational pull of
Imagine a
Earth,
set of
the less
twins
we're
that are
synchronized with
separated,
that time.
with one remaining on Earth and the other
Okay.
making a round
Yeah.
trip at high speed through space. Since the paths don't have the same length through space-time,
There you go.
at their reunion, the twins are no longer the same age.
Because gravity curves space-time. It like you're basically
In the
sitting on like a
experiment with the
blanket,
airplanes,
and the
the
weight of
explanation
something
is
is
similar.
pushing down in
The
it.
two planes separate, follow different trajectories through space-time, and it turns out that one of these trajectories is longer
So
than
do you
the
think
other
it stops
in terms
at a
of
certain
distance
point?
through space-time.
Do you think
The
space-time
clocks
stops?
have not traveled the same
Right.
distance, and therefore
Yeah.
Or is it-
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a black hole.
100%. Yeah, I think we're probably being spaghettified and we collapse at the end. I think that's what our timeline is.
No. Well, if you weren't
what's
spaghettified, if you could actually make it all the way to the singularity in a black hole, time would switch places with space. So you would have a like you'd be trying to make it to the center, but you'd have to. It would take an infinite amount of time to make it to the center, because I don't know, time and space have like made this like crazy switch, and
So that's the good and the bad news is that when the whole universe ends, it takes forever. So
so it's like
yeah, exactly. It's gonna slow down to the point where it will just be drawn out like that. But that's the idea. So it's like this crazy. So that's why I was wondering. This is all supposed to be a precursor to our AI question. That if we have satellites up in space, depending on how far up they are, there might be a huge time dilation between us and them, which means it could mean that they're calculating faster because they're in a place where they have more time to get back to us. So maybe quantum computing, if we have a satellite up far enough, isn't necessary because our regular computing is going at 4 times the rate than we are down here anyway.
Yeah, and then you get overclocking because it's cool and it doesn't
Oh yeah,
have
and then
some of
also
the-
it's at like 0 Kelvin in space, right?
right.
So I didn't actually check the
There's a
temperature in
phrase
space.
you've used on a number of occasions to make us
sorry, I just have to show
understand
this real quick.
you. And that phrase
I
is
saw it today and I thought it
legalized
was hilarious.
insanity. Yes. Not that we need to
Robin Williams, I love this man.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
It may be
2.7 Kelvin if you're wondering about the temperature in space.
Oh,
What
I
is it
already
about
knew I had my
insanity?
temperature gauge out.
What is legalized insanity?
You know you want it. I think that's one example. Yeah.
The thing that they're not showing, like after that, if you heard that woman that was laughing, she was just like, just like fucking laughing so fucking loud, and she's still laughing like a couple beats after this is done, and he like looks over and he's like, "Are you okay?" And he like comes over and he does like a whole, he's like, "The baby Jesus loves you. The baby Jesus loves you." It's so funny.
Oh, Robin. Oh my God. Yeah, his death was actually a huge turning point for me in the trajectory of my career. I think I've shared it before, but I don't know if I've shared it with you, Chris. Because I was in LA like pursuing like a career in comedy and film, and he died by his own hands. And then kind of, a combination of things. His kids moved out. He was stopping drinking and cocaine. He was on an antidepressant that was actually one of the side effects is it might make you more depressed. So, a lot of things are going on. His career is in a different place than it was. He's a more, introspective person than he was at this time. But it just made me realize that, like you can get it all. You can be Robin Williams and then still not be happy with who you are, right? Which I think is kind of relevant to the AI question. It comes back in this way. Because I've been thinking about it a lot recently. Obviously, we talk about AI a lot on this show because it's 2025. It's the big topic of everything that's going on. But yeah, for me, like, people in the next decade and more, I'm sure the rest of my life are going to be like, you could use an AI to do that. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to smile at them and be like, yeah, but it's more fun to do it by hand. Like, it's not, you know, like I enjoy the process of making art. Like, I don't want to circumvent the steps. I can't wait to pick up my guitar again and start churning out chords, and can't wait to start singing again in wide open spaces. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like having a guitar around the campfire and hollering as loud as you can because there's no one who can like be like, stop making that racket. Um, is like my personal favorite thing to do. So while AI is great for commercializing art, you can get what you want out of it. It can always go to the concert or whatever. It's never going to take the place for me of like being able to put my fingers on some strings, have them bite me back a little bit, and then pick out the little tune that I want. So
Yeah, I appreciate that absolutely. And at the same time, for me, I love the fact that I can use it to take an idea and move it forward in a way that I like today I shot a video and I made it more engaging, more snappy. I was able to edit it and clip it up, you know, to make it better. And
nice.
all of that was using AI as a tool to take out all my ums and filler words, right?
Right, right. Like just make it so
You
that
know,
it moves.
yeah. And I can accomplish in an hour what would take me a whole day before. And so now I can move into my next creative project. And so for
Right.
me, it's accelerating some of my creativities in some ways, and then therefore, freeing up some time to then dive into other things that I didn't know I was going to have so much time for, kind of thing.
Which is a fair point. To do mundane things that are very reliable, that's a good place for AI. That's what we've always. I mean, the whole industrial revolution, right, is pre-AI. We're like, what can we build that's going to make this task simpler? Because I hate doing X by hand.
Yeah.
And so everything after that, we're like, I bet you we can. And then here we are today.
Yeah. Finding more ways to fill our time then, doing something else.
Right, right. Well, I personally do not and have never wanted to wash my clothes by hand. So
Yeah.
I am personally thankful for that. The same thing with I love to make food, and the even temperature that you can get from a gas or electric stove that are treated properly, will give you exactly the perfect thing. Trying to figure out how to like Dutch oven some things, or how to like cook over an open fire, takes a lot more skill than I'm willing to put in for my dinner. I would probably be mostly vegetarian and possibly boiled foods, if we were not using like the oven. Um, so yeah, I think that the AI is going to be kind of in that place in the future. We're going to be like, I can't believe those savages of the past didn't have their artificial intelligence therapist to talk to on a regular basis for their entire life. How did they ever make decisions when they had to remember every conversation they had ever had?
Well, it'll probably be more like, oh, back then they were like talking to, this AI that was owned by a corporation, if you could
Ah, yeah,
imagine that. Like,
right.
like they were like talking to and wanting to marry and like do all this stuff with something that like its whole point was it wanted to like, make more money off of you, and it didn't actually want to like give you the best help or give you the best answer. How did they like manage with that when they were like basically just like, I'm sure that'll be more of what it's about, where it's
I'm
just like,
hoping that that conversation is past tense. Yeah, absolutely. That it's not the current reality that they're living in.
eh,
Well, I'll tell you, I had a friend do some research, and he was like trying to see if he could hack the kind of relationship piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest fears to be had around how AI will be used is in that relationship kind of aspect, because I can
People are
see
already
people
doing it.
falling in love.
They're already
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
Yeah.
The people are already like wanting to marry AIs. There are already people that have like dumped their real life like partner to just go out or date the AI. I mean, like, yeah, it is definitely
Well,
uh,
narcissists do love echo chambers. It tells them exactly what they want. It's supplicant to them. 100%. Yeah, I could see how that would be. That would be the thing that you would want.
it is
Um,
scary too, for sure.
so
It is
somebody
very
well,
scary.
mentioned
you think
that.
about a young child, just developing, and I don't know. I don't know. It's
Well,
frightening.
in some ways for me, I really hope this is the case. Is that basically like a kid could always like have a chat GBT just as as a model, like whatever it is, a large language model that they go to that's a private source, basically like their own diary where they've had conversations with it for forever. So when they are trying to make decisions, they're talking to the person who knows them best. Because no matter how much the people around you love you or think they love you, most times the people who love you, and Chris, I know you have a son, right? You
Yeah.
don't know him that well personally. I mean, you've seen him grow up, and you know his dietary needs, probably, and his allergies and his schedule. But like I'm imagine you're awfully surprised at who he is on in a lot of ways,
Right.
and that continues to happen as they get older. Like I feel that way about my parents, and I'm sure you feel that way about your parents too. Is that they have an observation of you that is from their perspective, and that includes when you were shitting yourself that isn't, exactly who you have grown up to be, so.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But having a large language model that did know your thoughts and feelings and the kind of things that you like, when you'd be like, hey, so I met this person and this is what they're like, it could be like, yeah, it sounds like you guys would be a good match because these are all the things that you like too. And you'd be like, that's really a good point, or hey, you remember the guy you dated that was also showing all these indicators and how that was a terribly bad relationship? Maybe you should be looking
Mm,
out for that in this relationship as well, before a person got too serious with them. Uh,
that's
like
interesting.
that's
Yeah.
sort of a as a thought. That's where I'm hoping that kids getting raised with it. That's the thing that will happen, and it's less that a corporation is taking their data, and more that it's like they have their own private device that's followed them. But I'm optimistic and not a realist as far as capitalism is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, one really only need to take a look at the past of corporations to know that, I mean, if they can get away with something, they will try. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think, again, putting forward the whole idea that it should be a tool for our benefit only and not like something that is used to like undermine and psychologically like manipulate us. Uh, that should be like that should be like a major thing that we're always talking about. But again,
Yeah, because it very easily could be. Yeah, if whoever's controlling the chatbot's responses could be
yeah.
controlling the world.
And it's
Um,
so easy to turn the idea of them manipulating us into some kind of like genius stroke of like business acumen, for whoever is running the business that
well, okay,
understands how to leverage.
if the billionaires are trying to win capitalism, then it makes the most logical sense to control the working class in order to get you to win capitalism. So yeah, it is a genius. Well, it's an alpha move, bro. Just like get on the program, and if you can't figure it out, bro, then you must be beta. You know what I'm saying? You like I've labeled you, and since my label is superior to the label I've given you, your point is Chadless. So. Yeah, yeah, we're on that. We are coming into the final portion of this show, where we get to make up some words and have some thoughts about those words. But yeah, no, it probably will be played off as like a genius move of what we have to do for the safety and security of all of the future.
If we let
So
it.
yeah.
So we just have to
Yeah,
just remain vigilant.
And for that, yeah, we do need to be careful as the working class that will be exploited in capitalism because that's how
Yeah.
capitalism works, is having a working class that can
Yeah.
be
As an
exploited.
artist that loves to work, I mean, I love doing work. I love learning new things, and it's like,
100%. I don't need to be
I know,
motivated to do tasks. I love doing tasks.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know
I
that I'll
love the
learn.
achievement that you get from achieving tasks. Like that, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I, I will
Getting
learn how
paid
to
for
use
doing it
this
too?
new
Yeah.
AI
Oh
stuff in
yeah.
art. Like when Photoshop was first coming out and it was
Hmm.
in my high school and everyone else was like, this stuff is weird, this stuff is blah, or like other artists were like, dude, you're drawing on a computer. Like, why do you want to make something on the computer? Like, I learned how to do it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like,
right,
because
100%.
they had benefits, but I still learned how to like do all of the like old analog shit too because it's like
It's
you
applicable.
get exactly, you get perspectives when you know how to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I believe the same thing with AI. Yeah, like, I think that it will probably be for a lot of kids like an introduction to like stuff that they could do, open their mind to the possibilities, and then they'll run into the limitations, and they'll be like me too, and Jack, I imagine, like, fuck it, I'll make it myself, and I'll do it from scratch. And at that point, I don't think that's a bad thing. There is there is a part of art that is a commodity, and for that we can take kind of that burden off of some of the artists who have gotten into a cycle of like they're not creative anymore because they're just always work arting instead of the other part. But there's a lot of commercial artists who are going to be upset to a certain extent. Happy post Christmas to everybody. Check your wrapping paper for Santas with 6 fingers and Rudolphs with 2 red noses, back and front, because you will see them as it's getting rolled out this holiday season, more and more. Uh,
You got me.
have you seen any yet? On any wrapping paper or Christmas cards or anything like that? Because we should collect them because it's going to be a passing time. They will be, all those things are going to be worked out. This is the time that we're actually seeing the pioneering days and its mess ups. It soon, I'm guessing the middle of this next year, it will be. You won't be able to tell AI art from in most other styles.
I'm on the hunt for it now.
Yeah. Well, if you're shopping in places like, H&M, or, like a big, like, the after Christmas sales too, I'm sure you're gonna see a lot of the stuff that's like spilled over there. Decorative cans, I'm guessing probably candles. But yeah, like where it's got those weird blurry lines or yeah, too many mouths. A Cronenberg nightmare of Christmas.
So,
a
that's good.
Well, Chris, it's been fantastic having you on here tonight. I think that's a great point to end the show, to bring it to a close. Thank you so much for being our guest again. I'm looking forward to when you're coming on again to hear what is going on. This has been a fantastic conversation. You suggested
Yeah.
it, and I was like, huh, I wonder how far that can go. And we keep finding more turns in this conversation. So yeah,
Tons of fun.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Ton of fun and appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
And
thank you for
um,
having me.
amazing work. I've been having a blast watching.
Jack,
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
what you doing with that egg-shaped shield is so fun in this art. Like I wasn't expecting it in the lower left-hand corner, but of course it's still there, right?
Yeah, he's just like watching from inside. I love how he looks like he's like, ooh,
Because she's telling him the story, of course, about how Pussy Paradise is trapped in its gravity well. So, yeah, no, it's fantastic. Guys, if you're in the Toledo area and you need a workspace, check out the Toledo Tech Loft with all the innovations that you need. I'm not sure if that's true, but it did sound nice. But
Yeah,
I know that
pretty much.
you try to be up to date with everything you could be using and having a workspace. You guys can check it out. It's the ToledoTechLoft.com, right? Is that
Yep.
the website? Yeah, it's a really nice and clean space. I was like, dang, I wish I was close to Ohio or like going through the area where I was like, that it just seems it'd be a good place to collaborate for sure. So, uh, Chris, I know you've been doing that, and it looks like it's awesome. If you guys want to
Yeah.
check out us more, you can do that at coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. This is behind the scenes episode of Drawing with Jack. That's Jack Haynes, our illustrator, and you can check him out at twitch.tv/Kapasu for all the video games that he's been streaming. So go and check that out in your free time when you're not watching these episodes. I am Skip Marazi, your host and friend. You can check me out at wigwags.us to figure out all the stuff that we're doing, on reddit.com/r/story calculators, so you can figure out what's happening there. Also, guys, I'm sure you've been seeing the Christmas show, so thank you for all the support and love that's been happening from that. We will catch you all soon in the future. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.